Between some massive updates and a completely new set of in-game mechanics, diving in can be intimidating. Because of that, I've put together another ultimate beginner's guide to Call of Duty Warzone 2. Welcome to Warzone Bootcamp. Warzone's objective is simple. Drop in, loot up, eliminate enemies, and make it out alive as the single victor. While that may sound easy, rest assured, with 150 enemies attempting to win by any means necessary, you're sure to have your hands full. You'll need to find weapons, fight to stay inside a ring of toxic gas, and eliminate every enemy who crosses your path. So get prepared to fight tooth and nail to get yourself a victory royale. Now that you know the basics, it's time to take your first shot at diving in. Whether that be with a group of friends that could be found by joining my Discord, discord.gg/expel, or a solo expedition into the battlefield, there's a few things you need to know before plunging out of the plane. Before you descend, you're going to be given the opportunity to possibly mark where you'd like to go. You can do that by opening the in-game map, which will additionally show you the path of the plane in the form of an arrow, then simply press the button for ping on wherever you'd like to go. Now, it's time to take the leap. And parachuting actually has its own set of mechanics, but for the most part, they're pretty intuitive. Basically, if you want to go farther, keep your parachute pulled. But if you want to go faster, but lose more height, cut the parachute and dive. Don't worry though, you can pull and cut as many times as you'd like. However, I recommend pulling your parachute once you get pretty close to the ground, because if you don't, this could happen. Additionally, while parachuting in from the plane, it's impossible to shoot your starting pistol at anyone while in the air, at least until you get about 50 meters from the ground. This means, without the fear of being shot, you can fly to almost anywhere your heart desires. As you find yourself nearing the ground, you're likely to be caught in a panic, especially if there's enemies landing nearby. Remember, your first goal is to find a weapon, but of course, it's likely you could end up without one before an enemy tries to engage you with gunfire. And in that case, either run or take them head on with your starting pistol. Regardless, your main focus in the early game, and even as you progress further throughout the match, will be to stay looted with the best items with which you can fill your inventory. But when it comes to looking for those items, Warzone 2 has crafted a system that makes it a bit easier to find them. Throughout the map, you'll be able to locate chests that can be opened and will then dump random loot onto the ground. However, most lootable items are going to be in areas that make sense for that specific loot to be. Looking for heals? Check a medicine cabinet. Looking for money? Check a cash register. Looking for plates? Well, plates can actually be found just about anywhere. Another great way to secure high-value loot is through eliminations, because when you find an enemy and send them back to the lobby, all the enemy's items will explode into a small pile around their location of elimination. And all you need to do is look over and retrieve the items you'd like to keep. There's a large chance you're not going to have enough room in your inventory for all these items. Reason being, Warzone 2 utilizes a backpack-based inventory system. See, within your backpack, you'll be given 5 free inventory slots that can be filled with any sort of item your heart desires. Beyond those, there's a few other slots that can only be filled with items for which Warzone has designated. This is considered your main loadout, but there's a bit more to those than what meets the eye. Once reaching a predetermined level, Warzone gives you the ability to access their loadout system in the pre-game menus. This gives you the option to choose what you'd like to have in your inventory during matches, at least after purchasing them, but we'll get to that later. While there's many options from which to choose, here's the gist of things. There's 50 plus base weapons, and more that are being added with every new season update. These weapons fall into a list of several different categories based on their best use. As you play with each of these weapons, it'll unlock a series of attachments in what's called the gunsmith that can be added to almost any weapon. And to find what attachments are unlocked from each weapon, you can go to their progression trees, or while looking through the available attachments, you'll be able to see in the top left what is required of you to unlock said attachment. Once you've leveled these weapons to their max, you'll be able to access weapon tuning. Simply put, whatever attachments you add to a gun, if weapon tuning is unlocked, it will allow you to dive deeper into how beneficial an attachment is for the stats it's already boosting or even those it's negatively affecting. For example, if an attachment is already helping you aim down faster, you can actually tune that attachment to be even quicker. This works for things like hip fire, recoil control, and pretty much anything else imaginable. Beyond weapons, loadouts also include what's called perk packages. These have a series of 4 perks of your own choosing that can help you engage enemies in a variety of different ways. Looking to have 2 primary weapons? Set up a package with overkill. Want your equipment automatically refilled over time? Set up a package with resupply. As for the final items encompassed within loadouts, we have equipment, otherwise known as lethals and tacticals. This includes items such as grenades, thermites, flashbangs, stim shots, etc. that can be used throughout the match to either get eliminations or give yourself a tactical advantage over your enemies. Aside from the inventory, there's plenty more to Warzone 2's user interface, and specifically we have the heads-up display, or HUD for short. These are elements that are statically placed around your screen that help you navigate the match. In the top left corner, there's actually a miniaturized version of the map aptly named the Minimap. If you use a UAV kill streak or something similar, you'll notice red diamonds begin to pop up. If the red diamond is full, this means it's an enemy player. However, if the red diamond is an outline, then it's an AI bot. It's also great to note that if a player is on a different height level than you, there will be an arrow below or above their red diamond indicating the difference. Furthermore, when enemies shoot their weapon, it will show on the compass at the top middle of your screen. When gunfire is heard, keep an eye on the compass and turn your character to the direction of the firing to give a clear indication and possibly communicate with your team as to the area from which it came. Beyond those elements, in the bottom left corner, you'll be able to see your health as well as your plates and whether you have a self-revive token. In the bottom right, your gun and ammo, and finally, in the top right, you'll find the number of teams and players remaining, as well as your total number of eliminations and spectators. Your next step is to utilize the minimap to find and secure yourself some contracts. And contracts, while not necessary, can alter the course of any match, as once you complete any contract, you'll be handsomely rewarded with cold, hard cash. Within Al Mazrah, you're going to be able to acquire one of 4 contracts at any given moment if you choose to do so. These contracts include the following, but may encompass more in the future. Bounty contracts, which as their name suggests, will mark an enemy on your map that you'll then be expected to eliminate. Most wanted contracts, which marks you as a bounty for every player in the match to see on their minimap. And you'll be expected to outlive the timer while slowly knocking it down by opening chests and loot caches, as well as eliminating enemies. Safecracker contracts that mark 3 safes on the map that you can blow open with supplied C4 and will be additionally rewarded with loot as well as the cash for completion. And lastly, intel contracts, where you'll find a piece of intel in the form of a laptop hard drive, then upload its data at a designated uplink area over the course of a short period of time while fending off any enemies that may see its signal. After you've completed a contract and find yourself with some cash, you'll want to spend it at one of Warzone's buy stations, which are clearly marked on your map. Once you're able to secure a buy station, open it up and you'll be met with 2 categories of available purchases. First, a gear category, where you'll find equipment, field upgrades, kill streaks, and loadout drops. Second, a weapons category, where you can purchase any primary weapons you've set up in the pre-game loadout menu. There's always the option to purchase a complete loadout, which would include your perks, equipment, and secondary weapons. Additionally, up to 9 free loadouts can drop during the first active circle at 20 seconds, and 3 more fall during the 5th stationary circle at 40 seconds. If you find yourself in a sticky situation after going for your loadout, you need to know how to outmaneuver your enemy, and that's where in-game mechanics shine. Not only do you have the classic first-person shooter option, sliding, but you also possess the ability to ledge hang and dolphin dive. Ledge hanging is done by jumping toward any structure that has a ledge on it, and instead of bouncing off or mantling over, you'll hang from the side while maintaining the ability to peek over and shoot at enemies with a pistol, if you have one available to you, mantle on top of the structure, or drop back down if you're not too interested in just hanging out. Dolphin diving is performed by holding your crouch button while sprinting, and tends to be best used when jumping away from grenades, out windows, or even off structures when things get too intense. It also gives you a bit higher of a leap, adding the ability to pull your parachute in situations you wouldn't have previously been able to with a normal jump. Speaking of aquatic mammals, Warzone 2 gives players the ability to swim. With its simple and intuitive mechanics, such as just looking and moving where you'd like to go, it can be a real game changer if you find yourself in a pinch, especially since bullets are slowed and most weapons can't even be used in water. But remember, you still have to come up for air, because if you don't... In addition to movement mechanics, throughout your match, you may hear voices that aren't those of your teammates.
Born to be wild.
That would be proximity chat. Due to it being its first application in Warzone, many people aren't going to know how to properly utilize it.
I'm sorry, hey, I'll give you my phone.
And you can use that to your advantage. Within around 50 meters, you're going to be able to hear your enemies speaking. If that's the case, you can either try to make some friends or talk some trash before you eliminate them. If you find all this running has you tired, Warzone has a series of unique vehicles to get you around the map. This ranges from small all-terrain vehicles and larger armored units to helicopters and even a range of aquatic vehicles to help you traverse the open sea. Along with these, we've been given unique vehicle mechanics that allow us to not only break the window of any vehicle with a door on it and lean out to shoot oncoming enemies, but also the ability to climb from any seat within the vehicle onto its roof and lay down fire wherever necessary. A few places guaranteed to need a ton of firepower are Warzone 2's Strongholds and Black Sites. When nearing either of these, you'll notice AI bots patrol them, and after eliminating those bots and exploring the area, you'll be able to retrieve higher tier loot. At Strongholds, after a bomb defusal, you'll be compensated with your loadout, a redeploy pack, a gas mask, and a munitions box. However, if the stronghold has already been completed by an enemy, eliminating all the AI in the vicinity will reward you with only your loadout. As for black sites, these are unlocked once you complete the strongholds and find the black site key from the chest you retrieved your loadout. You can then use that key at a designated black site to go for a round 2 against even more difficult AI. But the AI aren't the only things you'll find at these black sites, as while you're fighting those, you'll be additionally met with a nearly impossible to defeat juggernaut. And after a long-fought battle, if you do somehow find yourself able to execute the Juggernaut, you'll be rewarded with tons of valuable items as well as an insanely powerful minigun. If you find yourself on the losing side of that battle, you'll be swiftly introduced to the Gulag. Upon death, you're thrown into a 1 versus 1 arena against a random enemy. Funny enough, with the aforementioned proximity chat, you can speak to the opposing team once you find yourself within distance.
You thought you were gonna win?
As time progresses, if a team isn't eliminated, you'll slowly make your way into what's known as overtime, where you'll be met with a flag that can be captured as another path to victory. After learning all the basics for weapons, mechanics, and much more, you're still left with a single goal: survive. There's 150 players willing to do whatever is necessary to win, so it's important to do the same and implement any tactics that can give you an advantage. Of course, there's always going to be new things to learn, but there are some basic tips for survival that are going to help you guarantee victory. To begin, when you find yourself at a buy station with extra cash, or if you come across some while looting, grab yourself a kill streak. These are items like UAVs, precision airstrikes, and mortars that can be utilized to give you a massive upper hand over your adversaries. On that same note, it's important to pay attention to your position at all times. You'll likely notice most players are going to be either hiding in buildings or constantly pushing out in the open with not a care in the world and trying to just get shots on enemies while standing still. Your goal should be the opposite. From the second you find yourself in the plane, even before diving, you're thinking about positioning. You should constantly pay attention to your surroundings. If there's an enemy nearby, don't let them get the jump on you first. Position yourself with something in front of you blocking most of your body before you engage the target. It's important to make it as difficult as possible for enemies to shoot you. And finally, throughout the match, there will be times where the game provides an in-game event. These will pop up on the center of your screen and are composed of 3 options: a jailbreak, a restock, and lastly, a circle split. Jailbreaks will revive all players from the dead, as well as release any players that may currently be in the Gulag. Restocks will close and refill every single chest throughout the map. And the circle split will do exactly as its name implies: split the circle into 2 or 3 smaller circles, and once they have, they'll converge back into one large circle directly after. Beyond these tips, did you know barbed wire in Warzone can damage you? If you didn't, check out the video on screen where I covered tons of unknown secrets. Additionally, make sure to subscribe with notifications to never miss another Warzone Bootcamp video.